You know what gets a veto from me? Big fat veto. Ugh. I got myself into a little small town church predicament the other day. Just a little. When this happened to me, I was like, ooh. So while we get ready, let me tell you my little drama that happened. So not too long ago, I started my little church shopping adventure and I found the cutest little church right across the street from my grandparents' house. You're kidding! So after church, I would just walk across the street and say hi to my two favorite people. My Sundays are perfection. But something I have to add. In the church that I grew up with, they had the millennial gray chairs. The kind of chairs that's like very business meeting. I was looking for a more intimate environment, and for some reason, pews was just really important to me. Pews, I think, are the cutest thing ever. When I was church shopping, I was like, please, Lord, I really want to find a cute church with like wooden pews. And then again, he delivered. A church across the street from my grandparents' house is non-denominational Christian and has pews. Everything's great. Everything's amazing. Well, I go to church this past Sunday and the pastor goes up. He's talking about the announcements and then he tells us we are getting rid of the pews. What do you mean? What do you mean you're getting rid of the pews? And he was saying that the pews get oiled 3 times a week because they're real wood. They need maintenance. And he's saying just money-wise is so much better to get the millennial gray chairs so they can convert like the chapel into more of a conventional space for more things. And it's like, I get it. I so understand. But what do you mean you're getting rid of the pews? Now, here's the thing. Is getting rid of pews going to change my relationship with the Lord? No. But I love them. I love them so much. What can I do to keep these pews? So church ends. I have a gray cloud above my head. And the pastor announced that right after the 3rd service, which I was at, they were having a big church lunch. So everybody was gonna mingle, like grab a hot dog, make new friends. Well, I was so depressed about the pews being gone, I couldn't even think about mingling. So right after 3rd service, I just walk my little booty back to my grandma's house. I walk in the door and my grandma's like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And I said, Grandma, they're getting rid of the pews. Both my grandma and grandpa were like, well, that can't happen. I know! And I told my grandma, I said, Grandma, I'm for some reason so passionate about this. And like, I had this dream of like getting married in a church with pews and you just don't like find that anymore. And then my grandma was like, wait, but isn't like a luncheon happening right across the street right now? Grandma Dorothy, you're onto something. So I told her, I'm just gonna march my little booty back to church, grab a little plate, and then try to find the pastor and try to plead my case in person. I leave my grandma's house. I walk back across the street. I grab my little plate with my hot dog and salad. I start mingling a little bit with everybody. Then my friend, who we are gonna name Samantha, finds me. Samantha's like in her mid to late 30s. Samantha's beautiful. She works a little coffee cart before church every Sunday. Samantha finds me with my little plate and she's like, oh my gosh, Danny, come sit with me. And I was like, actually, I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to find the pastor. And she was like, oh, I'm sure you'll bump into him. And I could not keep it in. Samantha is such a girl's girl. I was like, Samantha, I can't hold this in. What do you mean the church is getting rid of the pews? And she's like, I know. So I start spilling my guts to Samantha. I'm telling her every little thing in my brain, telling her how it's my dream to get married in a church with pews. Which then she's like, oh my gosh, wait, are you engaged? No, I'm not engaged. But can you keep the pews for me? And then she asked me, she's like, oh my gosh, wait, but how'd you meet your boyfriend? I just had to be honest. And I said, Samantha, we met in a nightclub. Not only that, we met in a nightclub in Riverside, California. So Samantha and I are chatting it up. She also has sons, which were like sitting next to her. And she was asking her sons, like, do you guys know where your dad's at? Like, I made him a plate. And they were like, oh no, we don't know. So I asked her, I was like, wait, how'd you meet your husband? She's like, oh my gosh, we met when we were 19 in ministry and like all this stuff. I told her how ugly millennial gray chairs are. I was just on a roll. And you know what? Samantha is such a girl's girl. She was like, keep telling me more. Like, yeah. Maybe we should keep the pews. So the pastor is just like bopping around from like little group to group. And then the pastor finally comes over to Samantha and I. But before I can say, hello, pastor, Samantha looks at the pastor and she goes, oh, hey, honey, I made you a plate. Oh, I look at Samantha and I say, this is your husband in ministry. And she was like, oh yeah, forgot to tell you that part. And then the next sentence was Samantha talking to her husband. Samantha was like, oh, hey, honey, Danny wants to tell you why we should keep the pews. I'm sitting there like, it's okay, we don't have to keep the pews. Anywho, Samantha starts talking and she's like, well, Danny wants to get married in a church with pews and like maybe we keep him a little while longer. And the pastor is like, oh my gosh, Danny, are you engaged? No, I'm not engaged yet. It was like, well, when you get engaged, shoot me an email. We'll talk more. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm done with lunch. I'm gonna walk back to my grandparents' house now. So yeah, I was spilling my guts and talking to the pastor's wife this entire time. One would think that you would know who the pastor's wife is, but for some reason, I have never seen them in the same room at the same time. I wanted to eat my words. So note to self, Samantha is the pastor's wife. Just a little fun hometown, small church things. But hopefully, the pews still stay.